I've just finished restoring this little Grundig portable tape recorder. I got this to go in the Grundig KS560 radiogram, which I have on my YouTube channel. It's a stereo radiogram, so I needed a stereo tape recorder. But I needed a stereo tape recorder by Grundig that fitted the space that they'd made for the tape recorder compartment in the radiogram. And I was going through some of the dimensions of all the different models that they do, and this is the only one I could find that's stereo and fits into the space that they've provided. I've had to import this one from Germany because it's the TK27L. Now it has a mono built-in speaker and a mono single-ended amp, but when you connect it via the DIN socket, the stereo DIN socket at the back, you can record and play back in stereo at a fixed speed. It's the 3 3/4 inches per second speed, fixed. There is no speed changing button, and you can put the track select switch to stereo and use the stereo switch on the back to mute the loudspeaker and to turn the port on the back to stereo, and then you can make stereo recordings like you can on any normal 4-track stereo tape recorder. It's just that it won't play it back through its own loudspeaker, and you can't just use an extension speaker. You do need a power amp to get the other channel out of the machine. So it's perfect for the Grundig radiogram, as they've given you the connections and everything to connect this up. I can demonstrate it with a mono tape. I have tried it with stereo tape using the DIN connector on the back and made some lovely recordings. It plays back and records fine in stereo. The quality isn't as good as you'd get if it was at a higher speed, but this was obviously a budget and a compromise, and of course it's a bit more inconvenient because lots of stereo 4-track tapes are on 7-inch reels, and this only takes 5 3/4 inch reels. So you're pretty much limited to either winding the larger spools onto a smaller one. For example, this is a pre-recorded 7-inch spool, and as you can see, it's not going to go anywhere near. But I've spooled it on with another tape recorder on a smaller reel, so you can actually play it back. It's just a bit of a faff to re-spool them on. They did make these EMI pre-recorded mono tapes. They did do these in stereo, but they seem to be very hard to find in the stereo format. They tend just to be twin-track mono. So I shall demonstrate it on a mono tape. Compared to the other larger Grundig tape recorders, I wasn't expecting much from this. I thought it would sound rather thin and be a bit plasticky, but it's an incredibly heavy thing, and despite the speaker's small size, it has a really good sound. This was an interesting restoration simply because the inside was a bracket which held the motor to the deck, and it was made of, I think they call it Mazark, which is a metal, and anyone who's ever worked with Mazark or seen how it cracks, the Mazark bracket that was holding the motor just completely disintegrated. So I managed to use a bit of ingenuity, and I've lashed something up inside which basically keeps the motor there, and it does a really good job. The fast forward works, rewind works smoothly, everything works. This is a pause button. You can see everything is most of the functions are in German, because again I had to import this from Germany because the stereo versions of these machines don't turn up in the UK all that often. Yes, so that's the TK27L. It's missing its carry handle. I shall have to try and find one, and it's missing its Grundig badge, unfortunately. But its home will be in the Grundig KS560 stereogram. So there'll be a stereo tape recorder to complement the stereo record player. And hopefully one day the stereo decoder that will be fitted into the stereo radio.